Uh-oh. All right, today we're going to talk about Colombia versus Dominican Republic. Which country should I travel to if I want to make my money stretch? This is a valid question, so we're going to go right into it. If we're comparing Colombia and Dominican Republic, we have to start with the size of these two countries. Colombia is huge, and Dominican Republic is sharing the island with another country, Haiti. So it's not going to be the same thing as far as population and size, okay? So one key thing is that Colombia has 5 cities with over 1 million people. You got Bogota with 8 million, Medellin 3 million, Cali 2 million, Barranquilla 1 million, Cartagena 1 million. Whereas when you go to DR, you got 2 cities with over 1 million people. You have 2 major cities. You got Santo Domingo, the capital, and Santiago. The rest are not big cities. So that really is the key difference between the two countries. Dominican Republic got a lot to offer. Obviously, man, it's beautiful, beautiful country. But I find that Colombia has a lot more diverse attractions. So it all depends on what kind of person you are. Dominican Republic, they put a lot more focus on the beaches. They have world-class resorts, 5-star resorts. But overall, Colombia just has more of a cosmopolitan feel. So now, number 2, something really important. Now, when it comes to the Spanish, I find that Colombia, they speak with a slower pace. And it's not for nothing that a lot of teachers, they recommend Colombia and Mexico for learning Spanish. I have nothing against the Spanish in Dominican Republic, but they speak fast. They're on turbo time. Like they have a lot of slang, so if you're in the DR, they're gonna que lo que you to death, they talk fast. If you knew the Spanish, good luck. In Colombia, como está usted, I'm exaggerating. They don't speak that slow, especially in Cartagena, Barranquilla, but I could understand better, especially when I was learning Spanish, okay? So when it comes to the Spanish, I recommend Colombia if you're a first time, if you're a newbie, if you're just picking it up. So that's the difference between the two countries. One, they speak super, Dominican Republic, they speak super fast. Hola que lo que, it's like a machine gun when they talk. You got to really listen closely. So that was number 2, the Spanish. So, like I said earlier, Dominican Republic is sitting on an island and occupies half of the island. It shares the island with Haiti. So, to get around the DR, if you want to see the whole country, you could basically go from one end of the country to the other end of the country in 7-8 hours. But Colombia, you can't do that. It would take you like over a day to cross the entire country by bus. I mean, I'm talking about more than 24 to 30 hours. I usually fly from city to city, and flights are cheap. You could catch a flight from Cartagena to Cali for less than $100. If you like to backpack, and you like to go from city to city and you want to explore as much as possible, as fast as possible, it's going to be easier for you to do that in Dominican Republic because it's smaller. All right. So that's another thing. To move around Dominican Republic is going to be easier. Okay. So let's talk about the food. Something that's very important to me. It's like a top 3 thing when I travel. Pretty much, the difference between Colombia and Dominican Republic is that Colombia, when they serve you a meal, there's always a soup, a sancocho, delicious. But Dominican Republic, there's more rice involved. Almost all their dishes, you're going to have some rice. They love their rice. That's number 1. Number 2, Dominican Republic, people from the DR, they season their food a lot more than Colombians. My first time arriving in Colombia, I found the food to be a little on the bland side. I went to people's houses in Colombia when they cooking. They use, salt, maybe 1 or 2 spices, and that's it. But Dominicans, they like to go a little bit harder on the seasoning. And to me, I found it to be more aligned with what I like. I'm Haitian, Dominican Republic, they're neighbors. So there are going to be similarities between the food from Haiti and the food from the DR. Maybe I'm biased, but that's what I like about DR. I like the food more. All right, so if we're talking infrastructure, Colombia has better infrastructure overall. They got nice highways, they got good roads. It's a bigger country. Places like Medellin, Bogota, they kind of blow the Dominican Republic out of the water from an infrastructure standpoint. You'll find a lot more things that are modern in Colombia. You got cable cars, you got a super fast internet, and a lot of parks, a lot of public places. You can't expect the same standard of infrastructure that you're going to get in Colombia in the Dominican Republic. All right, so this is what y'all want to know, right? You want to know what's up with the women. What country got the best women? I think it's all a matter of taste. So you got a lot of plastic surgery in Colombia, a lot more than the Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic, of course, you're going to find a lot more darker skinned women, on the darker side. So if that's what you're into, DR is a great option. Whereas in Colombia, because it's a bigger country, you're going to find a lot of Afro-Latinas on the coast, but you're going to find a lot more Caucasian style Colombian women in, Medellin and Bogota and all these places. So there's a lot more diversity when it comes to the women. So basically, I can't say Colombian women are hotter than Dominican women. Personally, I got a thing for Colombian women, so I'm biased, but there's a lot of beautiful women in the DR. All right, so last thing I'm going to touch on is the cost of living. Personally, man, DR is more expensive than Colombia. If we're comparing Santo Domingo, the capital of DR, to Bogota, the capital of Colombia, I find that I was spending $100, $200 more every week in the Dominican Republic. You get a lot more bang for your buck in Colombia, from taxis to food to going out. It's just cheaper. DR is pricier. Maybe you had a different experience. If you've been to the DR, let me know in the comments. If you've been to other towns besides Santo Domingo. But in my opinion, man, Colombia is cheaper. And you get a lot more for your money. That's why overall, I like going to Colombia more. You get a lot more for your money. It's a bigger country. There's a lot more things to do because I'm not much of a beach person. If you're a beach person, then yeah, of course, you're going to say Dominican Republic is better. Colombia, I've seen beautiful mountains. I've seen beautiful rivers. I've seen beautiful women and just the overall beautiful culture. So that's my comparison between Colombia and the DR. Let me know in the comments if I forgot something. Let me know what was your experience if you've been to both countries. If there's any Colombians or Dominicans in the comments, I hope I didn't offend any of y'all. It's just my opinion. It's just my experience. I love both countries. So thanks for watching, and I'm out.